and thoughts on the team. The way we're going to do this, pretty much every time I hop on these videos, we'll put them on Facebook Live, then we'll put them on YouTube afterwards, and embed them to our content on PennLive.com. I'm going to try and stick to 3 topics maybe that I talk about each time, make it short and sweet for you guys, and that's what we're going to do. So today I think we'll start this off with Jason Peters, the left tackle. So the first point I want to make, a lot of you guys probably know, Adam Kaplan of ESPN reported that Jason Peters, 9-time Pro Bowler, 35-year-old veteran left tackle, probably a future Hall of Famer, the Eagles asked him to take a pay cut because he has an $11.7 million salary cap number for next year. So essentially, he's the most expensive player on the team. If the Eagles ask Peters to take a pay cut, they can spend more money on other things if Peters agrees to it. Problem is, Jason Peters, no reason for him to want to take a pay cut. So the big point, number 2, the point I want to make, moving on from that, is that, with Peters, you need to entice him to take a pay cut. So how can the Eagles do that? Their best bet is to move money around so he doesn't take a real pay cut, just lessen the load for 2017, which would free up cap space. The issue with that is that Peters is at the tail end of his career. So in the past, the Eagles have been able to do that by signing guys to extensions and moving money around so the cap numbers are less for that specific year. They did that with Malcolm Jenkins and Brent Selleck last year, where Selleck and Jenkins weren't entering free agency or anything that offseason, but the Eagles said, hey, we're going to sign you to extensions, pay you more money later on, but give you a little bit less this year, or maybe even pay you the same, but restructure the contract so the cap hit is less in 2017. But Peters is 35 years old. He's already the second oldest starting offensive tackle in the league. Does he want to take a pay cut? Probably not. Does he want to have a contract extension? Probably not. So there's other ways the Eagles can do it, but they're really kind of stuck in terms of flexibility there, which is why they had to go to Peters and ask for a pay cut, and why this news leaked, because the Eagles are trying to find leverage. I'm sure that they'll spin it and say, hey, Jason, you take a pay cut, and we go get a receiver and you win a championship, you're a hero, you're the unselfish hero of Philadelphia, and that sounds great, but at the end of the day, most players don't buy into that, because you got to do what's best for you. It is a business after all. So the points I want to make, the Eagles are trying to lessen Jason Peters' cap number makes sense, but it's going to be very hard to actually to accomplish unless Peters decides, hey, I don't mind taking a pay cut, which at this point is unlikely. So that leads me to point number 3. Like I said, 3 points, short and simple. I just want to make the point that all of these things that the Eagles do this month are going to be on a string. It all impacts each other. So the Eagles are likely to cut a few veteran players so that they have salary cap space, or space under the salary cap next season. So they might cut guys who've been mentioned as potential cap casualties. So they could cut Ryan Matthews, running back, who has a big cap number. Connor Barwin, who was a decent starting defensive end last year, but the Eagles could save about $7.7 million in cap space by cutting him, more than any other move they could make. So that seems likely, that sort of thing. But the point that you need to pay attention to as news kind of keeps going through this offseason is they're all connected. So if Jason Peters takes a pay cut, maybe the Eagles hang on to a guy like Jason Kelce, a center, who Philly Voice reported the Eagles might be considering moving on from him to save some money. If Jason Peters takes a pay cut, maybe the Eagles can bring Connor Barwin back on a restructured contract. If he doesn't, or if the Eagles don't work out a way to lessen Peters' cap load, maybe the Eagles do have to get rid of those guys. And all that obviously affects free agency. So as the offseason wears on, there's going to be a lot to think about. Certainly a lot of things that are going to be interesting to talk about. So just remember, keep in mind that it's all put together, and we'll see what happens with Jason Peters. It'll be very interesting to see if the Eagles make a move if Peters flat out says he won't restructure his contract. So we'll see. Please, everybody, leave me some notes. Let me know what you would like to talk about, how you'd like to approach these video things. Future of news is video, so we're going to have fun with this. Let me know what kind of Eagle stuff you want to talk about. Let me know what you think about Jason Peters, and we'll see you next time.